All right. So what we're going to, hold on a second. All right. So let's go into looking at other funds that are similar to Wellesley. And yeah, okay, good. We're recording. Good. All right. So what we're going to do is I got to share my screen, and I want to share this one, I think. One. Yeah. Okay, good. And we're going to go to Schwab. All right. So this is my Schwab. Hold on a second. All right, hold on. All right, I just want to make sure that you all can see this screen. True Bucks. All right, cool. All right, so basically, I freaking love. Oh, by the way, I got to remind you guys. I think I still have the link. If you guys want, if you haven't opened a Schwab account, I can give you a link, and you will make. I think it's like $300 or even $500, man. Something like that. I don't get paid, so it's just my gift to you as subscribers. I forgot what it was. I got to put the link on the account though. I'll put it. I'll remind it. I'll put it on the link on this thing, and I'll just do another video on that exclusively tomorrow. I totally forgot about that. I did a video the other day that says why you need a Schwab account, and I totally forgot. Someone had told me like, "Hey, send me a link. I can get $500." I said, "Oh man, that's right." All right. So remember, I don't see your comments right now. So all right, what we're gonna do. Here's a Vanguard. So this is everything is available at Schwab, and what I wanted to do. Is I wanted to, all right, sweet, is go back. Oh, all right. Yeah, I wanted to go back. So we got Morningstar category, 30-50% allocation equity. All right. Because someone had said the Fidelity Puritan Fund, which is closer to Wellington, not Wellesley. I want to have an inception date of over 10 years ago. I want anything available at Schwab. I didn't really care about expenses. It had to be less than 1%, but we'll get in that. And I want 3, 4, and 5-star ratings from Morningstar. And so here's Wellesley, and I'm looking at by inception date right here. All right, so here's the Wellesley, the Vanguard Wellesley, no low transaction fee. So this one is still open to investors. So you could literally buy the Vanguard Wellesley at Schwab. You cannot do that with Wellington. So I was getting a lot of questions like, what's some alternatives to Wellington? And I have some good ones I'll share with you. The Vanguard Wellesley, you can buy at Schwab. I mean, I'm telling you, I did open at all funds at Schwab that you can buy into. So we got no load, no fee. I don't know why this says no load, no. I don't know what this one says. No load, no fee there. No load transaction. Oh, transaction fee. You can buy the Wellesley, but you got to pay transaction fee. That's what it is. I have no idea what it is. I mean, $45, something like that. But you can buy it. That's a fact. So at Schwab, you can buy Wellesley. All right. But then I tell you, man, this one. So a couple of things jumped out at me. The permanent portfolio. I remember that. I was like, damn, I was surprised to see that. So I want to look into that. The USA fund, I could not believe that. The USA fund jumped out. I was surprised by that. And that gets 5 stars. Wellesley gets 5 stars. I've been a big fan of Franklin Income Fund for a long time. It goes back to 1948. It's 0.62% is expense ratio. No load, no fee. And Franklin Income Fund used to be notorious for having a front end load. So that's pretty interesting. So we got some pretty good ones on here, man. We got T. Rowe Price, but the drawback here is these guys only go back to 1990s. I was really wanting something a little bit older than that. So basically, we're gonna go back to these guys right here. And I don't like Putnam. They screwed the hooch back in was it 2000, 2001? I can't remember what the controversy was, but some of these funds were allowing after hours trades for the close of business price. Let me share how this works. This freaking pisses me off that the industry is so damn corrupt. So the market's closed at 4. All right. If you make a trade in a mutual fund after the close, it goes into the next day. All right. It goes to the close of the next day, not the beginning of the next day, the close of the next day with a mutual fund. ETF is different. This is before the rise of the ETFs. So if you were at 420, all right, and you called Vanguard to place a trade, Vanguard said, we'll process that trade at a close of business tomorrow. That's how mutual funds worked. What these big managers would do is they'd recognize the market. They place trades at 420 for that day's close. They literally were backdating the trades. Putnam allowed that to happen with the people who had money with Putnam, a lot of money. The big money managers had money with Putnam, were able to place a trade today at the essentially the previous day's close. It's completely corrupt. And I'll never forget Putnam for that. I think I'll kiss my butt, man. Vanguard didn't do it. USA didn't do it. Putnam, Oppenheimer, maybe, I can't remember, but I know Putnam did. And that freaking pisses me off. I say that's completely, it's crooked. Couldn't believe it. But there's the SEC. They're cracking down. Now, they never crack down, man. But they'll go after you if you're a broker and you say something dastardly like everyone should do a Roth IRA. Oh, wow, you can't say that. All right, so anyway, let's take a look at so we'll start with the Franklin Income Fund. So we're going to look at we're going to go back, right here, FKINX. All right, so we're going to go back. We're going to go to FK. We're just going to look FKINX. We're going to go to VW Winks. We're going to go to, what is the other one on here? Then we're going to go to the PRPFX. 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 There we go. And let's take a gander at what these guys have done. We're going to go back to was permanent portfolio, 1989, 1982. Good. So let's go back. Perfect. 1982. So we're going to go back to we can only go back to 1985. We're going to go back to 1985, and we're going to go to the end of 2020. And we're going to see what these guys have done. All right, now, if we can, while we're waiting for that, let's look at the permanent let's look at Franklin Income Fund. And I've been a big, oh man, okay, so I got to get it. All right, hold on a second. We'll come back. So let's look at Franklin Income, Vanguard, Wellesley, and permanent portfolio. And let's see so one of these guys is way behind. That's going to be permanent portfolio, way behind. So if you put $10,000 in permanent portfolio, it's worth $116,000 today. $10,000 in Wellesley is worth 200. Wellesley. Yep. I mean, look at that. Wellesley is worth 253. $10,000 in Franklin Income is worth 253. Wait. Yeah, Wellesley is 250. Wait, let's just make sure. Yep. $10,000 in Wellesley is worth 253. $10,000 in I mean, that's a significant difference there, my friends. Look at that. I think you got to scratch the permanent portfolio off your list there. I mean, just going back to historical from 1985. That's what's that, 35 years essentially? Yeah, 35 years. And it's just butt ugly, man. So Wellesley has more than doubled permanent portfolio with the same amount of volatility. It looks like Wellesley has done better than Franklin Income Fund with less volatility. And it looks like, without question. So let's look at the standard deviation. Look at that. Yep. Wellesley has beat those with much less of a standard deviation, 6.61. Franklin Income Fund is 9.46. And the permanent portfolio is 8.34. So Wellesley has smoked these guys with a much lower volatility. Worst year, Wellesley 9.84. Franklin Income Fund is 30%. Permanent portfolio is 8.36. So permanent portfolio did best on the downside, but not that much better. And then the maximum drawdown, this can be from basically October 2007 to the end of March of 2009. Wellesley was down 18, Franklin was down 39, and the permanent portfolio is down 19. So there you go. I mean, I think that speaks freaking. What else can you look for here? So let's look at 2008. Yeah, right. I guess we already saw that. Let's look at 1990. Look at that. Wellesley was up. Franklin and permanent were down. Not 87. Wellesley was down in 87. The other two were up. 894. They're all three were down. Wellesley was down the second. 99. Wellesley was down. The other two were up. Let's see right here. 2015, Wellesley was up. The other two were down. 2018, Wellesley, they're all down. It's gonna be tough to be Wellesley. It really is. So let's look at the USAA one. Was the only other one that jumped out at me. USAA growth. No, what was it? Okay, I gotta hold on. Let me stop the screen share for a second and log back into Schwab. All right. All right. Yeah. So that's. I hope you guys are. Look, I'm just telling you what I see real quick. I wouldn't. I mean, if Wellesley's still open, I'm not touching. Oops. I'm not touching the other two funds. That's for sure. So let's look back at. Come on, man. Kill me. Hold on just a second. Let me get to. How do I get back to funds? All right, how do I get back? Okay. All right, hold on just a second. Okay, here we go. Sweet. All right. So let's go to my save screens right there. All right, let me all right, so let me show you what I'm doing here. Oops. Share screen. We're gonna go to right there. All right, cool. All right, looks like we're good now. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm going to Schwab, the screen, the mutual fund screener, and basically what you're doing is you're going to, so you log in, you got research, mutual funds, fund screener. So it's, I mean, it takes some time and hunting, pecking and stuff, but mutual funds or research, mutual funds, fund screener, and then I just clicked on, basically allocation. So we started here. I said I want allocation, and then I want to get rid of everything other than 30, 50. And then there's 192 funds in there. And I said, well, I want all funds at Schwab. I want the expense ratio to be less than 1%. I want it to be 3, 4, and 5 stars. And seems like I want all funds. Yeah, all funds at Schwab. And I want the inception to be over 10 years. And there's 42 matches. And then I just come up here and I say, I want to see the inception date because I want a longevity of the fund. And we're going to go back to USA growth. Okay, so USBLX is the USA one, and FA, and then we got the Fidelity FASMX. So bear with me just a second. We're going to go back to portfolio screener, USABX. What it was? What the hell was that? It was USBLX, US Blacks, USBLX. All right. And then we're going to have the Fidelity was Fast Mix. All right. So we got Fast Mix. There we go. All right, so let's see what these guys have done going back to inception. And this is going back to January 1990. So we got 30 years of experience. Let's take a gander. Portfolio 2 is Wellesley again. I mean, just this goes back to 1990 again. Portfolio 2, Wellesley's got the best track record by far. Portfolio 3 was a USAA one. You can't beat Wellesley, man. I mean, this just is freaking stellar. Look at that. We go to standard deviation. Where is it? Right here? Wellesley's got the lowest standard deviation. The worst year, look at that, significantly lower than those other two funds. The max drawdown significantly lower. I mean, you can't beat that fund, man. Look at that. It's nuts. Better rates of return right here, 8.49, lower standard deviation, lower max drawdown, lower worst year. And one of the reasons for that is going to come back to the fees. If we look at the fees on these funds here, here's Wellesley, 23 basis points. Franklin Income's 3 times that. Permanent portfolio is 4 times that. Fidelity is 3 times that. USA growth is about 2.5 times that. I mean, that compounds over years, man. You just can't beat Wellesley. There's no other way around that. So I think we can write that one off, that Wellesley is the way to go. Absolutely. without question. There's just no debate on that. Now, someone could say, what about the Manning and Napier, or whatever the hell that, I don't know anything about it. Frankly, I'm not all that interested. What about the Hartford? Hartford's another company that did that back trading too. Freaking pisses me off. Franklin, nope. Thrivent, nope. American Century is okay, nope. MFS, no. Wellesley is the way to go, and that is just a fact, my friends. All right, so if we click on, seems like I have something else I want to say on that. I can't remember. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to modify criteria, and we're going to see replacement for the Wellington fund. And the reason we're going to do the Wellington fund is because I'm going to show you. All right. And what we're going to do, let's just make sure we got Wellington on here. Yeah, right there, Wellington. So the reason we're going to do the Wellington fund is because we're going to click on it and we're going to show you what it says. Available to existing shareholders only, right here. All right. That's not what we want to see. That means if you don't own it, you can't buy it at Schwab. Now, I think what you could do is buy it at Vanguard and ACAT and do an account transfer to Schwab, which is probably a pretty good idea, but you can't own it at Schwab. You cannot buy it at Schwab if you don't already own it. And that kind of sucks, man. So that's a problem. Whereas Wellesley, you could. In fact, let's go back. Oh, but let me go back. Let's see what it does here. Actually, let me just, I'm not sure. Yeah, let's, hold on a second. All right. Yeah, there we go. All right, cool. Hold on a sec. What happened here? I want to go to 3050. I don't see Vanguard on here. What happened to Vanguard? What happened, man? Faulted there. Hold on just a second. All right, there we go. And all right, so Vanguard, when you click on Wellesley, you'll notice it'll say open. So you can buy Wellesley at Schwab right here, availability open. Wellington, you can't unless you already own it, and it's at Schwab. Just keep that in mind. All right, so let's go back. Let's go back to allocation, Morningstar category. We're going to change it to this. Wellington, we're going to do over 10 years. We're only going to do funds that are open to new investors because we just showed you could not do Wellington at Schwab. We don't want one source. We want all funds at Schwab. We want to have an expense ratio of at least of no more than 1%. We want 3, 4, and 5 stars. There's a reason I keep 3 on there. We can get into or something, but I don't want to do fun assets. I guess it already has 5 million in there. All right, so let's just do that. We'll just see what's on there. All right, so we talked about Wellington is not available. All right, so now we got to say, well, what's available? First thing we do is look at inception date. Inception date. There we go. Dodge and Cox balance. Pretty interesting. So let's write that down. DODBX. DODBX. I'm a big fan of Dodge and Cox. Wow, Eaton Vance. EVIFX. And Putnam. I don't like Putnam. I can't do it. I cannot do Putnam. I'm sorry. RPBAX. Was Eaton Vance involved in that scam? I can't remember. Anyway, so now we're going to go to back test, and we're going to look at DODBX. All right. We're going to look at EVIFX, and then we're going to look at RPB. So what we're going to try to do here is narrow down one to compare it to Wellington, if that makes sense. All right. So we're going to look at these guys, go back to 1988, and we're going to see what has done better. And one jumps out, which is going to be Dodge and Cox. Yep, Dodge and Cox did significantly better. 243, the other one 144 and 171. Now, could that be because they took more risk? Yeah, a little bit more risk. Standard deviation, 11%. 10%, 9%. So, a little bit more risk. Worst year, 33, 30, 28. So no one was sitting there saying, oh my goodness, my fund did so much better than yours. I'm only down 28% where you're down 33. No one said that. I'm just telling you right now. Not one person said, I'm only down 28 and you're down 33. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Never happened. Max drawdown, that's pretty significant right there, 46%. So let's keep that in the back of our mind. But without question, Dodge and Cox is the way to go here. So I wonder why that is. What's their, does this show exposure, assets, rolling returns, and returns? Let's just take a look here. Yeah, look at that return. Wow, Dodge and Cox only. Yeah, right there. Oh my goodness, look at that. It didn't. Only in 2002 was down 2.94. Now 2008 got spanked. Tells me they probably have a lot of financial stocks in there. But look at that, man. I bet they had a lot of financial stocks in there. And then 2008 they got spanked. Look, 2002 is only down less than 3. That's freaking stellar. And then it was down 2011 and 2015, probably 18 as well. Yeah, all right. A little bit more volatility in there, but dude, that Dodge and Cox is stellar. All right, so let's look at Dodge and Cox, compare that to Wellington. That's nice. Let's see what the expense ratio is on this guy. What are the fees, man? Need the expenses. Is it on here any place? Get out of here. I had the expense ratio before. Inception date, expense ratio. Why is it not showing the expense ratio? Okay. Should be something that shows the expense ratio. All right, so let's click on it. 53 basis points. All right, so 1.5% essentially. Okay, good. So now let's just go back real quick. So Dodge and Cox is number 1 so far. So we're going to compare that. Oh man, right. We're going to go to inception date. Inception date. I'm back at that. Why? Oh, yeah. Hold on just a second, my friends. We'll get there. I'll take you there. Funds at Schwab, 10 years. Right there, right there. All right. I'll take you there. All right, let's go. Let's go, man. All right, so we're going to compare that. Oops, not description, inception date. All right, Puritan Funds, another one people are talking about. FPURX. Invesco, AC. Oh, wait, that used to be ACEIX. I used to own that fund. I used to have clients in that, but it wasn't Invesco. I thought that was Eaton Vance. That wasn't Invesco. They used to be ACEIX. Equity Income Fund. Yeah, I remember that fund. That was a good fund, but it wasn't Invesco. Huh. And then one I want to look at is the Fidelity Balance Fund. All right. Well, I guess we're gonna FBALX, and we can look at the Vanguard Starting Fund too, BGSTX. All right, and that will give us enough to go on. I thought no, it wasn't. It was Ian Vance Equity Income Fund. I could have sworn. Oh, that's weird, man. All right. Anyway, so DOD BX. FPURX ACEIX. Oops. Let's see what we come up with here, friends. We're going to go back to 1985. 35 years of experience. Portfolio 1. Dodge and Cox. Look at that. All right. So portfolio 1, Dodge and Cox, again, the best returns, 20% higher standard deviation on the Fidelity Puritan Fund, 20% higher standard deviation. They have 12% standard deviation. Puritan Fund has 10. And then the Eaton Vance, I'm sure it's Eaton Vance, man. And you can throw that one out. All right, sweet. So Worst year, 46. The forced drawdown. The Eaton Vance had less of a down market in 2008. Max drawdowns were significantly higher for the Dodge and Cox, but I mean everything got spanked. That's for sure. I tell you, man, that Dodge and Cox balance fund looks pretty attractive to me. Let's take a look. And there's Dodge and Cox got spanked that year right there. Eesh, painful. But look at that, man. Here's 1997, 87 is up, 90 up, 92 for 94 up, 99 up, 2001 up, 2000, yep, 2002 got spanked a little bit, but not that much. 2.94. 2008 got spanked, 2011, 2018. Whoa, look at that. And then 2015. So pretty stellar fun, man. That's all there is to it. All right, so now we're going to compare that to two other funds here. Again, this is what we're looking for in lieu of Wellington fund, because you cannot buy Wellington fund at Schwab. And then we're going to compare it to Star Fund, VGSTX. All right, VGSTX. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see Star Fund. So what is going to be our winner? I'm going with Star Fund, believe it or not. What will be our winner here? Oh, man, Dodge and Cox taking the cake. Look at that. Going back to 1985. 1987. And Dodge and Cox, 260, 232, 216. So Star Fund came in the third. Dodge and Cox, higher rate of return, higher standard deviation, higher max drawdown. But I mean, within spitting distance, all of the other ones. All right, so we're going to compare Dodge and Cox to Wellington now, and winner takes the cake, huh? All right, let's see. We'll just get rid of that and put this over to 0. All right, so I think we found our replacement for Wellington if we can't buy Wellington. All right. Ooh, Dodge and Cox. Ooh, it's right so doggone close. 410 to 370. Look at that. Ooh, man. But Dodge and Cox, look. Max drawdown, 46% max drawdown for Wellington, 32. Standard deviation for Dodge and Cox is 20% higher than Wellington, and you can see that by the max drawdown. And there you go. And of course, Dodge and Cox did better than Wellington totally because it had a little bit higher standard deviation risk. That makes sense to me. Here's Wellington right here. It was down in 1990, down in 1994, down in 2002, down in 2008. Dodge and Cox down 2011, Dodge and Cox down 2015, Dodge and Cox down in 2018. Oh man, that's nuts. Let's go inflation adjusted just to get giggles here. Yeah. That's interesting. Huh. We just learned something today, my friends. Let's go back to 2000. All right, so we've identified, let's go over the last 20 years. I'm going to predict Wellington did better. Let's take a look for the last 20 years. Oh, man, not really. Look at that. Neck and neck. Neck and neck. That's crazy. But standard deviation much higher for Dodge and Cox over the last 20 years than it was for Wellington. Isn't that interesting? It's going to be tough to beat Wellington. All right, let's go last 10 years. 2010, yeah, right? We start 2011. Yeah, 2011. I bet Dodge and Cox did better. But let's see. Because they had to have a couple down years. Oh, man, just look at that. They look more volatility. Right? No, Wellington did better by $100. All right, last 5 years while we had a market run. Wellington did better. All right, gotcha. because the Dodge and Cox had some down years that Wellington did not. All right, let's look a little bit deeper at Dodge and Cox Balance Fund. This goes back to 1931. Man. Well, there you go. That's interesting to me. No load. Is there a transaction fee? It looks like a transaction fee. I'm not sure how much the transaction fee they charge. Huh. That's interesting to me. Let's just PGEOX. Let's just throw that in the mix. That's a George Putnam one, the Putnam PGEOX. PGEO. I bet this sucks just because these firms are running, allow scandalous activity to happen. They're going to charge an arm and a leg for their funds. But let's take a look. So that's the portfolio 3 is a Putnam Balance Fund. Yeah. All right. So Putnam, just scratch them. They suck. All right. So all right. So let's stop there, and I'm going to stop the record. Well, we're going to stop the record there. So I'm going to here just a second. So if you're looking for an alternative to Wellington, it looks to me like Dodge and Cox Balance Fund looks like a sure bet. Actually, hold on just a second. Let me just see what the minimum investment is. Let me share the screen again. Points. Share the screen, and we're going to see what the minimum investment is in this guy. So we're going to click on this here. Oh yeah, $2,500. All right, sweet. Let's just real quick go to holdings. Google, they got Schwab, they have Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they have banking stuff. All right, there you go. It looks pretty good, man. Pretty good across the board. They got Google in there. FedEx was up 58.93% last year. Damn. 411 holdings. All right, they do short one stock. I wonder if that's Tesla. So you got your bonds in here. That's the equities that show us the bonds. Why don't they show us the bonds? All right, so I'm not sure what they got for the bonds here. I'm sure it's in here someplace. I just don't feel like looking at it. Take the portfolio. 68% equity, 30% roughly bonds and cash. That's basically 70-30, roughly a little bit more aggressive than Wellington. Turnover isn't high, 35 basis points. That's not much. Assets 14 billion. Let's go to risk and tax analysis here. That's always a problem with when in a non-IRA, you got to be wary of the risk and tax, but not have a turnover. Yeah, so we got right here. Tax cost ratio 1.49. That's actually not that bad on an income-oriented fund. So just not much turnover. Pre-liquidation, 6.78 is the average annual returns. Post-liquidation, when you get your capital gains, you sell. So not much, man. That's a solid fund. I'm glad we did this exercise. That is a solid fund. And that's how let me stop. And that just real quick. So the Dodge and Cox does look to be a good alternative to Wellington if you need to go that route. All right, so let me stop the. Oops. All right, let me go share screen. There we go. Trump. All right, so we're looking. So this is on the video. We are looking at the Wellesley, the Wellington, and the S&P 500 going back to 1985. You start with $10,000. You end 2020 after Reagan, Clinton, Trump, and Obama. Four of the most, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Not decisive people that drew the most ire from various sides of the aisle. And yet, if you had $10,000 in any of those three funds, you made 250, 362, and 470. You were sitting pretty, man. Now that's without taking money out, I grant you. But I want to show you guys something. If we go back to right here, all right, so this is 2009, all right? Now, how easily we forget in March of 2009, from January to March of 2009, the market was still getting crunched. All right. But be it as it may, the market came back strong. So Obama takes office, the market's still going south, and everyone's like, oh my goodness, socialism. And then look, at the end of 2009, the market was up 26%. That's the S&P 500. S&P 500 up, 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 down, up, up. Look at that. So from 2009 to 2020, the S&P 500 only had one down year, and that was 4.5%. Now, it did have a 33% decline in 35 days from February to March 20th. February was 9th to March 20th, I think, in 2020. But you'll never see that just looking at this. That's what drives me crazy when you look at these things right here. You don't see the volatility that actually occurred within the year. 1987, S&P 500 is up 4.7. You don't see the October crash. It's crazy, right? 1999, was it 98? 98 or 99? So the Russian devaluation, the Mexico peso, and the LTCM, I can't remember. Maybe it was even all three. I can't remember. But 98, 99, you don't see, there's some serious carnage in that year. You don't see it, though. You just see ups, like as if the market just goes up, up, up. Now, you do have these three. There's 2001 and 2. You don't see that with Wellington, and you don't see that with Wellesley. Both the Wellesley and the Wellington survived. 2008, S&P got crunched. S&P Wellesley was down less than 10%. Wellington was down 22. All right. And then in 2018, less than 5%, no big deal. So, but the concern I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years. And we've only had literally one. Yeah, that's right. Don't forget the Q4 of 2018, the market was down 19.4. But we've only had one true bear market, and that was in 2020, when we actually, S&P actually ended up 18.25% on the year. So basically where I'm going with this, in 2015, we had the market in May to June, the market was down about 17% or something like that. 2011, the summer, the market is down about 13% or something like that. But you don't see that in this. You don't see it at all. All you see is just tiny one. That's it. But anyway, the issue is that those weren't, just freaking drop the buckets, man. This one right here in 2020 was a drop, we will never think about, 5 years from like, it's just gonna be water under the bridge because it doesn't show up, because no one can remember this unless they live through it. No one remembers 1998, 1999 unless they lived through it. No one remembers 2011 unless they had clients who were living through it. And you, as I did, no one remembers 2015, but it happened. But anyway, no one's going to remember this. So what happens is the only thing we remember is, look, over the last 35 years, the S&P 500 or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But how soon you forget. Where I'm going with this, though. We still have only had one real bear market in the last 12 years. That's it, man. One real bear market in the last 12 years. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. In fact, I saw last night, don't forget, Shoot Bucks. I saw yesterday the 10-year Treasury was above 1%. I was like, damn, dude. That has rallied. The yield, which means the price has dropped. Yep, 10-year Treasury is 1.07 is what the 10-year Treasury yield is. So I hope you got your mortgage refinance in. 30-year Treasury is at 1.85. So, we've had a rally in the yields on the bonds, which is a decline in the price. No idea what that means. But where I'm going with this is, if I am a soon-to-be or just retired person, don't I say, I'm going to cash in some of my chips here, because 12 straight years with only one significant bear market, that's not reasonable. We typically have a bear market every 5 to 5.5 years. Now, one can make an argument, well, the reason is because we had such a down market in 2008, followed by the down, or preceded by the down market in 2002. I get that. And we're just kind of making up for lost decade. I kind of get that. But that's a risk. Is that worth playing that risk? I don't know. So now let's say we took 5,000 a year out, 5%, Withdrawal fixed percent. There we go. 5%. Yep. Oops. I'm going to go fix the amount. There we go. We're going to draw 5,000 a year out. We are going to inflation. Okay, good. All right. So we're going to draw 5,000 a year out. We're going to start in 2,000. We're going to compare these guys. Yeah, that looks. Oh, let's start with $100,000. There we go. That was pretty good. All right. So what we're doing here is let's not include year to date. We're going to start. All right, sweet. There we go. We're going to take 5% a year out, adjusted with inflation. Yep, at least one of the portfolios did not survive the specified withdrawals. So the end of test period was adjusted to 2016. You want to guess which portfolio that was? It's going to be the S&P 500. And so here's the S&P 500 right here. You got crunched, man. You got crunched. You got crunched time. Here's Wellesley. Here's Wellington. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Now, if you start in 2010 or 11, that'd be 10 years. It probably looks a hell of a lot different, right? Let's see. There we go. Yeah, look at that. That's the S&P 500 right there. You started 2010 or 11, excuse me, and you took 5% a year out adjusted with inflation. S&P 500 is at 253. Wellesley is at 133, and Wellington is at 168. But still, Wellesley has still survived. You're still above where you started, and you still got 5% a year adjusted with inflation. Or 5% a year adjusted with inflation. I mean, that's so the risk. You can see the risk reward there is that if you would have started in 2000, your goose is cooked, man. After 16 years with the S&P 500, if you would have started 2010, yeah, you're freaking loving life. But yeah, all right, you got a little bit. You got more money S&P 500 than you had in Wellesley or Wellington. But I mean, are we on the? I mean, where's the market now compared to where it was? I mean, that doesn't mean that we're doomsday. It seems to be the market now is not low, it's not cheap relative to what it was 10 years ago, man. And I mean, hell, are we done with the COVID? I mean, my goodness. I don't know what Steely Joe. I mean, he wants to put a freaking mask mandate, even though cases are dropping off. But just the government has power. They don't want to relinquish it. They're not going to relinquish it easy. And now they got a neutered Donald Trump, it seems like. And, there's going to be no one hold these guys accountable for the next 2 years. And so what do you think that does for government authority? It's certainly going to make it more dastardly. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I think it's time to if I'm near retirement, I think it's time to really start thinking about going a little bit more conservative. All right. That's let's pause that and see what kind of questions or comments you have. Oops. All right. Oops. Nope. All right. Actually, before I do that, let me just a real quick political rant here, if you would. The lady posted, said, Josh, you flop around more than a fish out of water, because I posted a video yesterday. It says, I'm proud of my being a Republican, and you should be too. And then today I posted another video. It's like, man, the Republicans are like the Washington Generals. And she was like, oh, yeah, you can't make up your mind. So look, at the end of the day, it's the nature of human emotions. I'm up and down. I'm actually pretty fired up right now. I'm not going to lie. I'm not pissed or anything. That I'm behind that. I'm very much looking forward to 2021 and 2022. The reason 2021 is because those are off-year elections in New Jersey, Virginia, and Kentucky. Maybe I don't think so. Maybe it's Kentucky. Maybe I can't, but definitely Virginia and New Jersey. I don't expect much in either of those states, but I do expect a movement towards the red, which would be good traction for what's going to happen in 2022. I actually think that once we get behind this initial blowback of the Republican Party being pissed at itself and shooting, a circular firing squad, I think we are so much better positioned than we were in 2009 or in 1993. A lot of you guys don't remember. We literally thought we were dead to rights back then because we had nothing. We had no state legislatures to speak of. We had tiny minorities in the Senate and the House, and both those just it was nuts. I just and both, Clinton wasn't all that popular, but Obama sure was. Just no one wanted to be a Republican. And I look, stupid stuff in Capitol. I just don't, frankly, just don't care. I mean, I feel bad for anyone who died. And there should be investigations when cops shoot people. I get all that, but at the end of the day, it's just all right, man. I don't want to hear any left wing crap after what we saw for this summer. I just literally, I'm not in the mood to hear it. I just won't. So I'm not sitting like, oh, I've had 3 people email me saying they're not never going to vote Republican again. I said, why? Because of what happened this yesterday. I said, dude, did you think I just fell off the turnip truck? You think I haven't heard that? I'll never vote Republican again. Why? Because they did the thing. I've heard that so many times this Sunday. Either they're full of excrement or they weren't Republicans to begin with. I'll never vote Republican because they embarrass me. Just never Trumpers want to take it out on the loyalists to the Republican Party, of which I am. Anyway, I sitting there and I'm thinking we have a 50-50 split in the Senate. We only have a 5-seat voting majority for the Democrats in the House. We have the state legislatures who are going to redistrict. I mean, my goodness, man. Do you really think there's going to be any massive legislation that's going to go through Congress? That's one thing I was wondering about Puerto Rico. That would be a concern right there. I'm not quite so sure. I wonder how that's going to go with the Black community. I'm not quite all that convinced the Black community is going to love having Puerto Rico as a state. That's the thing when you play identity politics, which the Democrats do. Ultimately, you're pitting one against the other. In fact, I was listening to a guy in England today and talk about how the Muslims were protesting against all the crazy, all the stuff from the left. And we won't say more because I want to be banned on YouTube. The Muslims like, I don't want that crap being taught in my schools. And this guy says the Muslims will be the next group of people to leave the Labor Party. And I said, I like that. That's a good way to look at it because there are conservatives that come from other countries, and at some point they're going to see the left go too far, and that's going to open up the corridor for mainstream. What I liked about another guy I was listening to, guys like libertarian republicanism doesn't work. I actually completely agree with that. Populism works, and the reason I say libertarian Republican won't work is because libertarianism doesn't work. What I'm saying, I wish it did. But for urban voters who are on the fence, entrepreneurs and stuff like that, the libertarian is just dominated by wealthy white suburbanites. It's just all there is to it. The Libertarian Party. That's why they were so big on throwing in with BLM this summer because they know the libertarians are just white, wealthy suburbanites. It's just there's not all of them, but the vast majority, college educated, highly credentialed, college educated, white collar, wealthy suburbanites. That's the Libertarian Party for it. Sad, but it is, and that's never going to appeal to making inroads with blacks, making inroads with Latinos and Hispanics. That's not the crap they want to hear. And to some degree, they might be, but it's populism that's going to win. And I literally, truly think that the Republican Party is going to go more populism. There'll be less in your face about law and order, which is good. You see what I'm saying? I think after this stuff in Capitol Hill, they're going to say, and then the stuff with the COVID-19 police restrictions, I think a lot of Republicans are going to be like, I'm not throwing in with that. I don't want to be the law and order party if that's the law and order that I'm expecting. I don't like that at all. And I think that, I tell you, man, I'm pretty excited. I think there's a lot of good stuff here. The Republican Party is stronger now. Stronger in some regard than they were in 2016 when Trump won. Not quite. Because we did have the House, but we had it with rhinos. You know what I'm saying? We did have a Senate, in which we lost the Senate, we lost the presidency. We've lost some state legislatures, but this stuff happens all the time in politics, man. In politics, the out of power party wins in off-year elections. It happened this year, it happened last year. In 2018, it always happens. This year, the Senate went to the Democrats. That should have gone to the Democrats in 2018, but it went into 2020, which frankly is better because we were able to get 2 more years of judges in there. That's fantastic, man. Anyway, I look at the Republican Party. I said, man, we are so much stronger than a lot of people are letting on. You don't understand how bad it was in 2009. It's like on the back of the National Review, they had advertisements, touting Obama and the National Review. Crazy, man. In 93, like no one wanted to. I mean, again, I read that article from the Washington Post the other day, from 1992, and they're talking about Jack Kemp because he can be a moderate, with the Republican Party. They're too far right, they're blah, blah, and they've been saying this. They said that in 2009. We got to reach out to Hispanics with illegal immigration. And Trump reached out to Hispanics without illegal immigration in terms of we got to legalize everybody. He said no, and he made huge inroads with Hispanics that a lot of people said never could happen. And it wasn't because he was spouting legalizing illegal immigrants. I'm telling you right now. And the Republican Party would be stupid, and that wouldn't surprise if they did, to consider going that route that they did with John McCain, Lindsey Grahamnesty, Mittens from the old days, where we got to legalize these people so that way we can make inroads with them. No, Trump made inroads going the exact opposite. And that's the lesson we learned. I think enough Republicans are going to do this. So one of the things that we really got to start doing is you really got to start looking at who is running in your state legislation, look, you stop this focus on the Senate and the president. You got to focus on your local legislation. And so I'm gonna be looking around this year and seeing who's up for, I can't remember 2022, what the state house is. I have to see what Georgia is up. And I'm sure there are some seats up in Georgia in 2022, and start looking at the vulnerable Democrats that could be taken out. Like we got a lady in the next district over who won her congressional seat, by a sliver. You know what I'm saying? And that she could be taken out. My own rep, Lucy McBath, she won pretty handily this time, which kind of sucks, man. That kind of sucks. She barely squeaked by in 2018. This year, she won a lot more solidly. But 2022, maybe not. And if Republicans are going to take the House, these two districts we need to get. We need to get Lucy McBath out of there, and we need to get Carolyn Bordeaux out of there. It got to happen. If we can't get those, we're not going to take back the House. That's all there is to it. So, but then you got to even go down ballot. Who's running for freaking county commissioner? As we can see now, the county commissioner plays a big role in things. Who thought? Secretary of State, public health people. If they run in who would have thought public health authority would have so much power over your life? It's nuts. I just think there's an opening that a lot of people on our side of the aisle have, myself included, previously would not have seen before. Now we've seen it. And we've seen that, you got to hold people accountable, man. And unfortunately, Trump isn't going to do it. Mitch McConnell's not going to do it. Kevin McCarthy's not going to do it. It's got to be you. You got to hold them accountable. And the way you do it is the ballot box. Secondly, only an idiot Republican would ever not push now hard and heavy for voting security. If there's ever been a wake up for anybody on the Republican Party, is that voting security needs to be front and center, or else they're all going to lose. And so if you're wanting to get rich in the politics, like a lot of these guys do, because they do, they watch Steely Joe and he made bank. Him and Hunter made bank without question. Harry Reid made bank. Trent Lott made bank being in politics. Robert Byrd made bank. That's the way it works, man. You go into politics and you get a lot of money. People spend lots of money, and you get to keep your war chest of all the campaign contributions you don't spend. You get to keep it. It's crazy. But be it as it may, that's the nature of the beast. So if you're a Republican legislature or office holder and you want to stay in there because you want that sweet, sweet money from being a political hack, well, hell's bells, man. You better freaking get the vote secure, or else you'll easily be put out to pasture because of an insecure vote, if you know what I'm saying. So no Republican that's got two brains is not going to say, yeah, we need to make sure. And if you're controlling the governorship and you're controlling the House and the Senate, like in New Hampshire, you better get that vote secure, man. That's what they are in New Hampshire. You better make sure you got a clean and fair vote. And looking at Kentucky, I'm just using that. They have a Democratic governor. Once you get that governor back, you better freaking number one thing is make sure that the vote's secure. And no Republican, if any Republican sitting on the fence there, it's an idiot. That's all there is to it. So, all right, let's see what kind of questions you all have or thoughts or comments here. All right, let me, there we go. All right, cool. Stop that. Oops. There we go.